All right, man. Hendon Hooker was linked to the Detroit Lions a bunch of times by people. The Lions drafted him to 68 pick. I was tripping for a minute because I thought they didn't update the ticker. I seen Denver at 67, us at 68. So apparently Denver had, we traded back with Denver. We traded back with Kansas City, FYI. I'll talk about that towards the latter end, but traded out of the second round into the third. We took Hendon Hooker. I like it. Is there some risk involved with Hendon Hooker? Absolutely. Coming off of ACL surgery. Some people think it's a a quarterback friendly system. What else can we say about the guy? It's a rebuild program. He got a couple years of really good production in the system. Athletic. He a little older. I think that hurt him. Fairly mobile. Didn't get the test, but he already back throwing. His age is he'll be 26 next year. So January 13th. Start off at Virginia Tech. Uh, take care of the football. I did a little bit of scouting on him. Have a problem kind of sensing pressure a little bit. When the pocket collapses, and that's a huge hurdle to overcome in the National Football League. You got to be able to feel the pressure and kind of sit there a little bit too much. But when you're talking about, I think his arm is NFL talent, caliber arm, accuracy, to throw it down the field. And Mel Kiper just called him the best deep ball thrower in the National Football League. And I'm gonna break this one all the way down. I got to see the Alabama game. He was huge in that game, and people talking about the system that he did at Tennessee. Offensive coordinator Ben Johnson to be able to implement some things in there. And like I said, I'm gonna break this all the way down, so it might be a little bit lengthy. So, last year, when he got to Virginia Tech, it was he was a 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions guy. So, also including the bowl game stats as a sophomore. So he took care of the football. He came back his junior year, 8 games, 98, he pitched 150, 65.3%, 1,339 yards. He threw 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So I don't know what happened there. But outside of that season, he's only threw outside of that that junior season, he's only threw a total of 7 interceptions. He take care of the ball. 68% his junior year, 2,945 yards, 9.7 per. 31 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. This year he got cut short, but he had 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 69.6% completion. His completion rate went up every year, even when he was at Virginia Tech. So obviously his numbers would have been greater than what they were in 2021, but he didn't get the bowl game. He missed 2 games overall. Rushing wise, at Virginia Tech, his freshman year, he didn't have any passing stats, 57 yards. He had 356 yards. His second year at Virginia Tech, his junior year, 620 with 9 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns the sophomore year, 1 the freshman. He didn't do any. He didn't get any. He had 10 touchdowns the last 2 years, 5 apiece rushing, 616 yards. His second year, his first year in Tennessee, and then he had 435 touchdowns. So he didn't run as much last year. He had this short history there too, short in his career. So obviously you get a guy that can run. You get a guy that got the best deep ball thrower in the national football. In the draft, they were saying prototypical size. He was fifth in Heisman voting this year. Might have won it if it wasn't for injury. I felt the same way about Michigan's running back Blake Corum. 6'4", 218. I was kind of saying I like Levis more a little bit. I just think I like Levis' arm more. I think Hendon Hooker's game is let's talk about the two, right? They had an opportunity possibly to get both, right? I think Tennessee jumped them, right? Well, we obviously had an opportunity. Levis has got a cannon for an arm. Excuse me. Levis has got an absolute rocket for an arm. Raw, makes some bad decisions. This dude makes some great decisions. And in that system he played with in Tennessee, it did enough to baffle Bama. And what the NFL doing now, it's been doing it for a while, is they now, basically is a carbon copy of it's a carbon copy of college. They just stealing shit from college. And that's what they doing. So some of the things he done well, they will be able to implement in Detroit. They will be able to implement that in Detroit. So um, what they gonna want to do with him is obviously get him healthy first and all that stuff. But what Detroit like to do with Jared, and this is Jared Goff, they tailor make the offense, but what they want to do is get the run game going, play action, get down the field. That's what. Get the run game going. It's the same thing they did in LA with them. Off the play action, you will see a flare from the running back out the backfield. I mean, the play action suck them in. The flare come out the backfield, off the play action, you hit the running back. Again, they play action again. You know, the running back might stay in block, but then now you got the tight end running like a little funky route. He might run a little, to the boundary, like a little whip route. He run to the boundary, but in this route he comes back across, and the play action is the key. But and then they might run it. They didn't run that much on first down. They threw a lot last year. But then they play action. Then they get the same look. You might get a look where the running back, he a flare. The tight end give you the same look, but then this time you come off the boot and then you going down the field. So it's really predicated on the run. But Jared Goff also did a great job of chopping up underneath. He was able to get in some type of rhythm, and they was able to hit those timing routes. And he had St. Brown. It don't get no better than St. Brown when you talking about just turning timing routes into touchdowns or big plays or moving the chains, and his yak, and he's very, very quarterback friendly, which FYI he was the one that named his pick, announced his pick. So now you just get a kind of situation where you're going there, and he going into a system which they're gonna build it around him. A lot of those things they can't do with Jared Goff as far as the boot action. They're gonna let Hendon Hooker have the option to run the ball. There'll be some design runs for critical moments and playoff moments for him. There'll be some quarterback draws in there. But the boot action gets a little bit more dangerous. Oh, there's my dog's here in my head. The boot action gets a little bit more dangerous when you have somebody that's mobile, or just the play action in general. Now I can do different things now. Now you get that jet sweep where you kind of tap it. You see they do it now. You can pump it, he can go. I mean, now you can pump it, he can go, and then you get the option to pass. So his athleticism, his ability to throw the ball down the field opens up a new realm. The athleticism open up a new realm of possibility for the Detroit Lions. And this is good. This is good for him here. You got some it's no rush to get in there. You still got Nate Sudfeld. You got St. Brown, Jameson Williams get down the field. It's just gonna be able to see what else they can do receiver wise. But he got some preferable guys, and it's a good system for him because it's gonna be predicated off the run. That's gonna be half the battle done. And he's gonna make running backs better because he can run. So so you get the athletic kid, big kid, good arm, playing in a good system. But this system is really gonna enhance what he do. It's gonna fit, and you got a coordinator that's gonna do some things. But what you want to do, that they do in Detroit, it's no mystery. Everything's predicated off the run or the threat of the run. But that's how Jared Goff operate. Without that run game, Jared Goff is pedestrian. It's the fuel. So you really want to stop the run. But the problem is great offensive line, and then Ben Johnson is creative. Why you thinking about stopping the run? He got 10 traps laid for the game. And I think where they would have to get better at running the ball, I like to see them get a little bit more creative. I like to see them get a little bit more power downhill on first down. You might see that with David Montgomery, but yeah, he already passed. It'll be no rush. He had Mark Brunell, another really good quarterback. You had Ben Johnson. You had Jared Goff willing to help. And it was a good pick. They moved back, and people said, well, why did they move back and not take them in the second round? Obviously financials, but you can call around the league and get a feel what's going on. So I'm pretty sure he did that. He probably called around the league, like what's really good, what's going on. Or he's gonna continue to slide. I bet he slid because his age and he was injured. And that's what it was. So two really productive years in Tennessee. Beat Bama. I don't know if he played that Georgia game. Did he play that Georgia game? Man, I remember watching that game, but I can't remember if he played that Georgia game. Yes, he did. 23 for 33. One interception. So I don't know if this the game he actually got hurt in. I don't think it was, but yeah, man, Georgia was a powerhouse, man. They still didn't blow them out 13-17. They scored 17 and they 20, it's 13 and 27, excuse me. They scored 17. They scored 24 of their points in the first half. Only got a field goal in the second. So, but yeah, hell of a football player. It's a great fit in my opinion. What he do well, he got a good deep ball passer. You got a running game to support him. And now he's gonna be some other things that he do well as well too that they got to implement in the offense. But the ability to throw the ball deep, the ability of his athleticism to enhance the running game. I think it was a better fit than Will Levis. Will Levis got a rocket for an arm. Will Levis did some of the same things. When he was healthy, you seen a lot of things where he played off the boot. He was sneaky. I think he was a little bit more athletic from what I've seen than Ben Roethlisberger, where he could do some things on the boot. He run those tough yards. He wasn't Josh Allen quite, but big physical guy, get them yards. But I think Hendon Hooker. Um, if I had a choice, for the Lions, I think they both great fits, but I probably would kind of like I love him like the kid's arm, Will Levis, but I think Hendon Hooker kind of what he did in college and the system they did there, and offensive coordinator he got. I think Ben Johnson would have been happy man to work with both, but I think Hendon Hooker's ability to be a fluid athlete, um, that was the difference, I think, his athleticism. So, check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Shout out to Hendon Hooker, another great pick from Brad Holmes. I think he really stepped it up. Day two, I think day one was really good too. A lot of people didn't like it, but I'm gonna talk about all that at some point. So, 68 pick, third round, Hendon Hooker. Welcome to the D. From Greensboro, North Carolina to Detroit. I got a little pipeline down there too. But hey, check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Hit the link tree. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. I appreciate the love and support. Peace.